I know the relations between the avians and reptilians turned hostile later on, but what were they like in the beginning? I mean, how did the two species interact with each other?
Well, originally was a subservient attitude. They were more or less doing our bidding and not asking questions. They were also the sign in such a manner. We are certain what went wrong along the way, but there are ideas we are investigating and we haven't found a reason. However, originally they were quite subservient, everything worked quite smoothly. They were carrying out the tasks they were supposed to carry out, and we were observing them quite logically and reasonably as things went according to plan. However, they likely also became somewhat irritated.
Right. What were the tasks that they were asked to carry out?
Well, to further the colonization, also take over other species that they encounter that have been created in the meantime, incorporate them under control so you have a stretched empire that would all more or less be funneled towards us or toward their highest council, and their idea of them conquering this newly formed universe.
Okay. Um, so how did the avians interact with the felines in the beginning?
Well, in the beginning, we had a peaceful sit down, like on a council meeting. Perhaps like in your Senate or whatever, and we sat down and we had a discussion about how to go about things. However, in the beginning, you plan, and then later on, you realize that you have to oppose each other and also to play out the game, because in another what you consider universe, we played opposite roles. So we had to switch.
So are you saying relations were peaceful in the beginning and then at some point they became hostile with the felines?
Hostile or just distant, yes.
Okay.
Likely just distant. Depends what you call hostile.
Right, right. Um, so how would you describe your relationships with them currently? Are they peaceful or distant?
Perhaps somewhat stressed. Difficult.
Okay. Okay. Um, Now I know you measure time differently than us, but uh,
There's no time.
right, right. But like roughly how long in terms of frequency was it after the Big Bang when the avians and reptilians started growing hostile to each other?
Well, it was the next stage of a necessity that we were not aware of. It wasn't planned, right? But everything is planned at a higher level. So in this case, it was, right? So upheaval was planned from higher level, but from our vantage point, it wasn't planned because we wasn't aware of it. But us forgetting it was planned was also part of the plan, right? So it was
Right.
the next stage in frequency.
Okay. Um. So, but, I mean, like comparatively,
Again,
like
there is no time.
okay. Um. So I mean, I know. Like, would you say it was like it happened very quickly, or was there like a really? I know there's no time, but like, would you say like
This
the
is not a
up?
metaphor. There really is no time. So the idea is it happened once the next stage was ready, right? Now we can give you a number if you wish, like 1,000,000 years later, that'll satisfy you.
Okay. But I mean, in comparison to like the entire history of the universe, I mean, would you say it wasn't very long?
Well, no, not to the history of the universe, they call like such as the creation of the universe, a big act, so therefore the frequency shift is much different than when such a comparatively small event occurs. So therefore the frequency is not as big as the other one, so therefore what you would call time wouldn't be stretched in such a long what you call period.
Okay. Um. So, just prior to the uprising, how technologically advanced was each side?
Much more than you are. Weaponry, there was much more than what you call a nuclear weapon or an H bomb.
So, how far had each species spread throughout the universe?
Well, we both encompass what prevent you're aware of in terms of your known sky, whatever, especially around Orion system, the Dakota system. and numerous others that you're not aware of that you're not having names for. But it's not like we colonized the entire universe.
Okay. Do you know which species at the time had the larger population?
Yes, they are
How much larger?
much larger. We had less than a quarter of their population.
Okay. Yeah, like kind of picking up where I left off talking with the avian. Can you tell me what, from your point of view, led to the reptilian revolution?
Yes, certainly. Those entities, right, you're considering the birdies, they were to some degree not suppressors or oppressors or other. They overstayed their welcome. They they gave us a certain task, right? And then we reach a certain task and we're fulfilling the task because they still, they were the driving instructor, so to speak, and still stay in the car after we learned how to drive and still try to grab the steering wheel.
Right.
They fulfilled their role, but they refused to take off. Yes.
Okay. So was the KALASK race in existence during the revolution?
Yes, at least in some form, not the way we are now.
Okay. So I mean, if it doesn't put too much strain on the vessel, are you interested in sharing what your overall experiences were during the revolution?
Very more like, yes, very plenty. Well, certain ships were being blown up, certain planes were being blown up, many of us died, so that's the idea. Fortunately, some of them died as well, but there weren't as many of them to begin with. Large contingents of their ships were destroyed, there's many ships. We took many of those out, many of them were also implied as androids, so we didn't catch all of them, unfortunately. There were many on the ship that we blew up. This still isn't settled.
Right. So like, again, if it doesn't put too much strain on the vessel, can you say like how the revolution started?
Well, it was more than a revolution, it was now about war, and it started when some of us just... There was pressure put on our lineage what you would consider royals. And some of those were also partially mixed with some of their direction, partially not, and their ideas there were... There was an argument about who was heir to the throne. Figuratively speaking.
Okay. So did the revolution happen quickly, or was there a long war, kind of like the Orion Wars?
Long war, not as long as what you call a time frame. Orion Wars lasted literally 500,000 years, what you call time, but long enough.
Okay.
Much destruction, a short period of what you call time.
Okay, well, my final question for today on this topic, why don't you believe the avians that they had planned for the revolution to happen and then they made themselves forget that they planned it? I mean, isn't everything planned by versions of ourselves in higher dimensions?
Whatever, yes. It doesn't excuse what they did, literally. If they were aware of what was going to happen anyway, then they should have made different plans.
Okay.